President of the Calicut Management Association, Mr. Roshan Kennedy, the Founder President of CMA, Mr. B.K.S. Menon, Secretary Dr. Jacob Varghese, Vice President Mr. Mohan Das, Treasurer Mr. Satish Kumar, other past presidents, Secretary Mr. Ashik, forgot to, other past presidents, members of the Calicut Management Association, my dear friends, and ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all of you. At the outset, I thank the organization of Calicut Management Association, especially Mr. Roshan Kennedy, my good friend, for bringing me to this August forum to address you people. 2 weeks back, he already frightened me by telling that you are invited to give a speech. Again, in this forum, he is again telling that I should be talking for 1.5 hours. Indirectly, he told, and half an hour for discussion or question answer session. Then on the top, he told there were 4. I am the 5th among the 4 speakers had, and people like Chris Gopalakrishnan and Shashi Tharoor are in the pipeline. So I am sandwiched between that. I am fortunate to be here because if I had come after the Chris Gopalakrishnan talk and the Shashi Tharoor's talk, I don't know where I would have stood. So I am happy that I am here today. At least I accepted his offer and I came early before them. I am told that this is part of a series of talks by entrepreneurs who have been very successful in their field of business. Those who have been successful and who can stimulate others and motivate others, especially the upcoming young businessmen or the management trainees. First of all, let me disclose to you that I am not a good orator to keep you awake for a few minutes or half an hour or more, or neither a successful businessman. Yet, success is always, it's a relative terminology. You cannot just define success because you can say success is something, if you are not failed, it's also a success. If you attained a first class, it's a success. If you are not attained a distinction, it is not a failure. So like that, you set a target and if you achieve that, then it's a success. So it's a relative terminology. I don't know whether I am successful so far. Anyway, if my short message is of some use, of some learning process for somebody who is sitting here, I am only happy to share my experiences. I will start with my certain biodata has already been told. Many things have been mentioned by my friend and Mr. Mohan Das. But I will start with my childhood experiences. As he had already mentioned, I was born in 1953 at Chenganur, Alappuzha district. My father was the first of the 11 siblings my grandfather had. I have an younger brother. He is now in Trivandrum doing his own business. When I was born, my grandfather was a businessman, and when I was born, he was in great financial struggle because he was running good business till then, like chit fund, bus owner, he had shops, so many other business he was into. But everything failed. He was in a very great financial crisis. So he had to change his abode to another place because he had a property at Koni in the Pathanamthitta, the present Pathanamthitta district, where he had a piece of land about 30 acres. So we migrated to that place, then started planting rubber trees, started some small agricultural based business, trading, and for many years he was struggling. This may not be of interest to you, listening all those stories, but it's interesting to me in the sense I had seen him growing from nothing. In the sense, he was a very, very hardworking gentleman, very honest and with high discipline and integrity. That his qualities were very commendable. I told you, he had lost everything especially from the chit fund, because those people who had bid the chit vanished and they were not paying him back. That was the reason he lost the money. Those days it was not very strict or like the present restrictions or supervision by Reserve Bank or nothing was there. So what he did, he did not sue any of them. Those who were to pay him, he did not go to the court at all. But when he made some money, some little bit of excess money, he used to send them postcards, I had seen that, to their house, call them back and give them the money, and that too when it was time barred already, maybe 15 or 20 years earlier and later. That was his honesty. So I had seen him growing, and in his business activities, and he was my mentor. So because I was staying with my grandfather throughout my childhood. My father fortunately had his collegiate education from Alva UC College, then from Madras Medical College. That was in 40s when my grandfather could afford to send him to those places. So after his graduation from Madras Christian College, he was about to take up a job in Middle East. But fortunately or unfortunately, there was a local problem or some war or something happened near that Suez Canal area, and the Suez Canal was also blocked, and he was very afraid to go there, so he did not take up. Finally, he landed up in Bombay, taking up a job there, and afterwards he took his other younger brothers and sisters also there. They were collectively sending money to my grandfather to support him in his business. This went on like that for some time. So I had my schooling at my village in a Malayalam medium school till my 7th standard. Then my father realized that I should not be studying there, I should go to an English medium school. Then I was put in a boarding school at Pathanamthitta, that's English medium boarding school. Then onwards I did not stay in my house, I was always either in a boarding or a hostel or out of state. So I completed my SSLC, and fortunately I was one of the 2 rare species who got first class in SSLC in that area, especially in that educational district. So then my father took me to, there is nothing great now, SSLC first class is, that was in 68, so it was little, because my background was there. In the school, in the village school, there was nobody to support, and so because I went to that, if I had continued in that village school, I would not have got probably a first class. Then my father took me to Mumbai, joined for intermediate science. Intermediate science is 2 years course, first year science and intermediate science. So during my first year science, I lost my father. He was working there. He had only one vice which I can remember. He was a heavy smoker. Nothing else. No alcohol, no other vices I can ever imagine in him. Because he was a very affectionate, very lovable person, and he loved everyone, and I used to love everyone who came across. So he died of lung cancer at the age of 42 when I was 16. And my younger brother was 8-year-old. This was a great jolt in my life. And I had to continue my studies for one more year, so completing my intermediate science there. Thank you. So I completed my intermediate science, staying there in Bombay alone in a what's called guest, paying as a paying guest. I somehow managed to study there and came back to Kerala again in 1970. My SSLC knowledge and knowledge I had acquired from the Kerala education system was not at all giving me any support for my this thing in the intermediate. The intermediate in Bombay was very, very tough. I don't know how many of you might have read, studied in Bombay. It was very tough for a Kerala, an ordinary Kerala student. Somehow I managed to pass that in maybe nearing a first class mark, something I got like that. Anyway, it was a high first class, high second class, I remember. And I came and joined for BSc in chemistry at Marthoma College, Tiruvalla. So when I joined, that physics and maths were the two subsidiary subjects. So when I went through the book of trigonometry and all other things, I could not imagine those things I had already learned in intermediate science. Nothing was there, even 1/4 of it was not there for the subsidiary science of subject of in BSc. So I was very happy. Okay, I was not even attending to, and I had high marks in physics and mathematics. That is in the second year. Third year is the chemistry paper. It was 6 papers. I was not, then I was overconfident, you can say. My overconfidence made me to indulge into so many other activities, so that I did not study well. What I did, with 1 or 2 very close friends of mine, I went to the principal and told him that he was a father, the father-in-law of Justice K.T. Thomas. He was Father Reverend T.C. Thomas. So we went to him, said, Father, I am not well prepared. I got good marks in the subsidiary subjects, but unfortunately I am not prepared, so I will not write the exam this time. Please excuse me. He said, nothing doing, you will have to go and write. Somehow he persuaded, and I went there and wrote the exam. Out of 6 papers, 4 papers I did something. 5th paper I just scribbled something. 6th paper also I went there and did not even write, because I just want to fail. And I did not go for the practical exam. So I will fail. That's the only way I could get. Then when the results came, I had very high marks in the theory, out of the 4 papers. Then I repented. I should have continued, and I should have got good marks. Then after 6 months, I wrote the supplementary exam. Again, a little bit of laziness and lethargy from my side because of my overconfidence, and probably there was lack of guidance from my. Of course, my father was not there. My uncles, though they were all there, they were not because they knew that I am a keen, good student, so they were not bothered about my marks or whatever it is. Nobody, for that matter. So then only after the final